my dear students. Today in this video I will discuss about the topic hydatidiform mole. This is one of the subtype of GTD, that is gestational trophoblastic disease. As the name suggests, trophoblast cells are involved in this disease. Hydatidiform mole is also known as vesicular mole. So what actually happens in this disease? The benign or the non-cancerous cyst or tumors formed in the uterus. This is the diagram of hydatidiform mole. First of all, its definition: it is an abnormal condition of the placenta where there are partly degenerative and partly proliferative changes occurs in the young chorionic villi. Partly hydrophic degenerative changes. Partly means to some extent. Hydrophic degenerative changes which occurs at the stroma of the villi. So what actually happens? There will be the accumulation of fluid in the stroma of the villi, and because of the accumulation of the fluid, the function of the stromal cells is declined. That is known as hydrophic degenerative changes which occur at the stroma of the villi. Second is partly proliferative changes. Proliferation means the multiplication of the cells. Which cells? Trophoblast cells of the chorionic villi. So which occurs, these both changes takes place in the young chorionic villi. So because of these changes, there will be the formation of small cyst. Formation of clusters means groups of small cyst. What are cysts? These are the fluid filled sac or the pockets containing fluid, which are of different sizes, and because of its superficial resemblance to the hydatid cyst, because of the superficial similarity to the hydatid cyst. What is hydatid cyst? These are the cysts which formed in the liver. So as the cysts which are formed in the uterus is physically similar to the hydatid cyst, that's why it is named as hydatidiform mole. As you can see in this diagram, this is the diagram of chorionic villi, which consist of trophoblast cells, which are of two types. First one is syncytial trophoblast and second one is cytotrophoblast. The outer layer of chorionic villi is made up of the cells which are known as syncytial trophoblast, and the below the syncytial trophoblast there is a layer of cells which is known as cytotrophoblast cells. There is a proliferation of trophoblast cells takes place. Proliferation means multiplication, which after multiplication known as hyperplastic cells. Now what is hyperplastic cells? When the number of cells is increased. Which cells? Trophoblast cells. When the number of trophoblast cells is increased because of its multiplication, that is known as hyperplastic cells. In the middle, in the white color, that is known as stroma of the villi, which is also known as connective tissue core of villi, which consist of extracellular matrix and the cells including fibroblast cells, macrophages. And there is a secretion from these hyperplastic cells takes place, and that secretion of fluid is accumulated in the stroma of the villi. And because of the accumulation of fluid in the stroma, there is a degenerative changes which takes place in the stromal cells or tissues. And because of the accumulation of fluid in the stroma of the villi, there is a distension of chorionic villi takes place. As the chorionic villi are distended because of the accumulation of fluid, and as a result, there is the formation of small fluid-filled sacs, which is known as cyst, or which is also known as hydatidiform mole. I hope you all are clear with the definition of hydatidiform mole. Next is the incidence rate of hydatidiform mole. Its highest incidence rate is in Philippines, that is 1 in 80 pregnancies, and its lowest incidence rate is in USA, that is 1 in 2000 pregnancies. And in European countries, the incidence rate is 1 in 752 pregnancies. And in India, the incidence rate is 1 in 400 pregnancies. Are the types of hydatidiform mole. There are two types of hydatidiform mole. There is complete hydatidiform mole and incomplete hydatidiform mole. First of all, I will discuss about the complete hydatidiform mole. This is the diagram of complete hydatidiform mole. This type is more common. And in the complete hydatidiform mole, there is no fetus, not contain any fetus. And next is the size of the uterus, which is much more than the expected gestational date. And there are higher levels of HCG in the case of complete hydatidiform mole, or huge rise in the human chorionic gonadotrophin hormone. Next is diploid, means the embryo contains two sets of chromosomes, which is known as diploid, and both the sets of chromosomes come from the paternal side. There are no genetic material from the maternal side, and because of this abnormality, or because of the absence of genetic material from the maternal side, the complete hydatidiform moles are formed. And how this happens? This is an empty ovum or empty egg without any chromosomes, which is fertilized by a haploid sperm. Haploid means which consists of single set of chromosomes, and after fertilization, the duplication of these chromosomes from the paternal side occur, and after duplication they become diploid, means it consists of two sets of chromosomes, both from the paternal side. And here I write two sets of chromosomes from the paternal side and no chromosomes from the maternal side. Or sometimes the empty ovum is fertilized by two haploid sperms, and then it becomes diploid, means it consists of two sets of chromosomes, both from the paternal side. So there is no any genetic material from the maternal side, because of which the complete hydatidiform moles are formed. Next type is incomplete hydatidiform mole. This is a diagram of incomplete hydatidiform mole. This is actually less common type of hydatidiform mole, and in this the non-viable fetus is present. Non-viable means dead fetus is present, and the size of the uterus is smaller than the expected gestational date. And in this type, there is a slight rise in the HCG hormone. And here the embryo is triploid, means the embryo consists of three sets of chromosomes, from which the two sets from the paternal side or from the father side and one set from the maternal side. As in the complete hydatidiform mole, this is the ovum, haploid ovum, which consists of single set of chromosomes, which is fertilized by the two haploid sperms. And then after fertilization, a single set of chromosome from the maternal side and the two sets of chromosomes from the paternal side. And in this type, the embryo consists of three sets of chromosomes. That is two sets of chromosomes from the paternal side and one set of chromosome from the maternal side, which is known as triploid. And in this case, both the genetic material from both the parents is present, but because of this abnormality in the fertilization, the incomplete hydatidiform moles are formed. Next is the etiology or the causes of hydatidiform mole. First one is prevalence, means the chances of having hydatidiform mole is highest in the teenage pregnancies or the women over 35 years of age. And the chances of having hydatidiform mole appear to vary with certain race groups, and ethnic origin. What is ethnic origin? That is ancestral origin. Next is faulty nutrition. Under this, the inadequate intake of protein, animal fat, low dietary intake of keratin might cause the hydatidiform mole, as the keratin is an antioxidant which feed on the free radicals. And if there is a low dietary intake of keratin, and because of which the quantity of keratin is less, that will lead to increase in the free radicals in the body. And if the free radicals increased in the body, that will result in the oxidative stress. And if there is oxidative stress, that might cause the hydatidiform mole. Next is disturbed maternal immune mechanism. If there is a rise in gamma globulin level in the absence of hepatic disease, that might cause the hydatidiform mole. Next is the risk of hydatidiform mole is more among the A and AB blood group, while less among the O and B blood group. Next is cytogenetic abnormality. What is cytogenetic? That is the study of chromosomes. And the chromosomal abnormality that I already discussed under the types of hydatidiform mole, that how the chromosomal abnormality results in the hydatidiform mole. Next is the higher the ratio of paternal-maternal chromosomes, the greater is the molar change. That I already discussed under the types of hydatidiform mole, the ratio of paternal and maternal chromosome. As in the complete mole, there is one extra set of chromosome come from the paternal side, while there is no set of chromosome from the maternal side. And the partial mole, again one extra set of chromosome come from the paternal side, which is also known as diandric. Diandric means when an extra set of chromosome come from the father side or from the paternal side. Next is the history of prior hydatidiform mole. If there is a hydatidiform mole in the previous pregnancy, then there is a chances or the risk is more in the current pregnancy. Next is the pathology of hydatidiform mole. It is principally a disease of chorion. As we know that the chorionic villi are emerge or arises from the chorion. That's why it is principally a disease of chorion, because the degenerative changes or the proliferative changes that all takes place in the chorionic villi, and chorionic villi are emerge or arises from the chorion. Next is the death of the ovum or the failure of the embryo to grow is essential to develop the complete hydatidiform mole. As I already discussed in its types, that in the complete hydatidiform mole there is no fetus, and in the incomplete hydatidiform mole there is fetus but dead. The secretion from the hyperplastic cells. These things I already explained in detail in the definition of hydatidiform mole, but still I'll discuss it once again. The secretion from the hyperplastic cells. What are hyperplastic cells? That is trophoblast cells, that is syncytiotrophoblasts and cytotrophoblast cells, plus the transferred substances from the maternal blood. As the chorionic villi are enter into the maternal decidua, so the transferred substances from the maternal blood all are accumulated in the stroma of the villi here, which are devoid of blood vessels. What are devoid means not having. So stroma is not having the blood vessels, and because of the accumulation of secretions, there will be the distension of the villi to form the small vesicles or cyst. Next is distension may be due to edema and liquefaction of the stroma. Both are same thing. Edema, liquefaction means there is a distension of fluid in the stroma. Next is in vesicle fluid means the fluid inside the cyst, that is interstitial fluid, that is the extracellular fluid. The fluid out of the cells that are known as extracellular fluid. As the secretions from the hyperplastic cells come into the stroma, and then there is the formation of vesicles which contains the fluid, that is interstitial fluid, that is extracellular fluid, and is almost similar to the ascites. What is ascites? When there is a accumulation of fluid in the abdominal cavity, or when there is accumulation of fluid in the abdomen, or edema fluid, but it's rich in HCG. So the fluid in the vesicles is just similar to the ascites and the edema fluid, but it is rich in HCG, as there are the higher levels of HCG in the case of hydatidiform mole. Next is the naked eye appearance. What is naked eye appearance? Means unaided. So after the pathology of hydatidiform mole, next is naked eye appearance. Means normally when we see without the help of any instrument, that is telescope or microscope, so what we see, the mass filling the uterus and is made up of multiple cysts which are present in multiple chains and groups and which are of different sizes. This is the diagram of complete hydatidiform mole, and in this there is no embryo and no amniotic sac, and hemorrhage, if occur, that takes place in the decidual space. What is decidual space? As we know that decidua is the innermost layer of the uterus which is formed during the pregnancy. Next is the microscopic appearance, that is the vision with the help of microscope. So with the help of microscope, the basic findings are, there is a proliferation or multiplication of syncytial and cytotrophoblast cells is seen. Next is there is a thinning of the stromal tissues because of the accumulation of fluid in the stroma. So that's why it caused distension, and because of distension there is a marked thinning of the stromal tissues due to hydrophic degeneration. Next is there is absence of blood vessels in the villi, but the villus pattern is clearly maintained. Ovarian changes. In the case of hydatidiform mole, because of some reasons, there are certain changes takes place in the ovaries also. Now what are those changes? Bilateral lutein cysts are present in about 50% cases of hydatidiform mole. Now what are bilateral lutein cysts? Bilateral means which are present in both ovaries. Lutein cyst which consist the straw colored fluid. Straw colored means light yellow colored fluid. These are due to the excessive production of HCG, and they are also observed in multiple pregnancy, because in the multiple pregnancy also the HCG production is more. As because of the increase in HCG production, there will be the hypertrophy of the theca interna cell layer of the ovaries. Hypertrophy means enlargement of the cells, and because of the hypertrophy it leads to theca lutein cyst formation. But these cyst returns to its normal by its own within 2 months after the expulsion of the mole. And the fluid, that is the straw colored fluid of the cyst, is rich in the HCG, and it also contains estrogen and progesterone. Next is the per abdominal findings. When we are doing the per abdominal examination, then what we find? First of all, the size of the uterus. In 70% cases, the size of the uterus is more than expected for the period of amenorrhea or the expected gestational date. This mostly occur in the case of complete hydatidiform mole. Corresponds means same with period of amenorrhea in 20% cases, and the uterus size is smaller than the period of amenorrhea in 10% of cases. This usually happens in the incomplete hydatidiform mole. Next is the feel of the uterus. The feel of the uterus is firm, means hard and elastic like dough. Next is fetal parts not felt. fetal movements absent, and fetal heart sound is also absent. Next is the vaginal examination. Unilateral or bilateral enlargement of the ovaries because of the presence of lutein cyst. Next is finding of the vesicles or the cyst in the vaginal discharge is pathognomonic, means indicative or indication of hydatidiform mole. Next is if the cervical os is open instead of the membranes, the blood clot and the vesicles may be felt during the vaginal examination. Next are the investigations which are usually done in the case of hydatidiform mole. Full blood count, ABO and RH grouping in case blood transfusion can be required. So hepatic, renal, thyroid function test should be carried out. Sonography should be done. In the sonography, the characteristic feature of the hydatidiform mole is viewed, that is no storm appearance. This is the characteristic feature of the hydatidiform mole. Next is quantitative estimation of the HCG should be done. As in the case of hydatidiform mole, there is excessive production of the HCG. Next is plain X-ray of abdomen. Next is CT scan and MRI. As these cysts are benign, but they have the potential to metastasize to the other parts of the body. They have the potential to become malignant. So that's why CT scan and MRI should be done just as a prophylactic measure. At last, there is the scheme of management of hydatidiform mole. There are two cases. First one is in process of expulsion, means the process of expulsion of moles are already started. In that case, that process should be accelerated, means increase the process of expulsion. Suction evacuation should be done. What is suction evacuation? Suction evacuation is also known as vacuum evacuation or the vacuum aspiration, means in this case firstly dilatation of the cervix should be done and then the vacuum is used to expel or to remove the tissues from the uterus. Next is oxytocin drip can be used, but it is not recommended on the routine basis because of the risk of embolization. So that's why it is not recommended on the routine basis. And after the evacuation, then the gentle curettage with the help of curette should be done after the evacuation only in the selected cases. The second case is uterus is inert, means the patient is not in labor. In that case, the blood transfusion should be done, and if the age of the mother is more than 35 years and the family is completed and the mole is perforating or invasive. Perforating means which cause holes in the uterus, that is also known as invasive hydatidiform mole. In that case, hysterectomy should be done, means removal of the uterus. But if the patient is young and wants the child, in that case evacuation should be done. Evacuation of the content of the uterus and vagina is preferred. So vaginal preferred. If the cervix is favorable, then the suction evacuation and the oxytocin drip should be started or should not be started. Next is cervix is unfavorable. In that case, the dilatation of the cervix should be done slowly first and then suction evacuation should be done, and curettage only in the selected cases. But if the cervix is unfavorable and there is a vaginal bleeding, in that case abdominal hysterotomy should be done, which is done rarely. What is hysterotomy? That is the opening of the uterus through abdomen. And at last, prophylactic cytotoxic therapy should be given. Cytotoxic drugs are those which are given to kill the cancer cells. And then follow up as a routine at least for 1 year and monitor maternal serum or urine for the HCG levels. My dear students, I hope you all are clear with this topic, but if you have any kind of query, then please ask me in the comment section. And if you find my videos useful, then please like the videos. And if you are new at my channel, then please subscribe my channel.